Oh no. What happened? What's going on? Well, I did some calculations. I'm trying to change my instant center. That's where the 4-link bar is hooked up. That's where it was. Going for more anti-squat. And this is the position I ended up with the 4 links going at the ear. You take all these length and height and dimensions and the weight and the center of gravity. Center of gravity is right here. So when you go to take off with the driver, which means big fat butt, the instant center lift is right where the center of gravity is. So first the anti-squat separates from the chassis and drives the tire into the pavement. And then it's trying to lift the center of the car. So the whole car is going to lift. So that way we won't squat. And this way we won't do a wheelie. And hopefully it all works. It's been about 4 hours working on those calculations. This is the Currie. Got billet aluminum caps. I really like this stuff. The carrier. Look at that. It has 4 holes for the pinion for oil lube. It has this really neat shim pack. So you put your shims in there and it centers them all. So you can set your bearing preload on your pinion. You got 2 bearings and it squishes in here. Get your proper preload there. So this is the 9-inch Detroit locker. That works really good. Got a really nice billet yoke. Don't want to break that. So then you come over here. From the other video, you've seen I welded all these 4-link brackets on here. Positioned everything, got all cleaned up, ready to go. So the 4-link adjustments go here, here, and coming over here. So the change I made is just one here. It makes a huge difference. So I'm going to keep that one the same. That goes in the rear lower. I'm going to have to change this. The rebound setting is going to be turned up because it's going to want to separate a lot. So you want to slow down and control and time that rebound adjustment on your QA1. So that's what we're doing. Look at these tires. Okay, they're already peeling up. They're so soft. I mean, they are. I like them. They're softer than my motorcycle tires. I doubt if I'll get 500 miles out of these, but you gotta stick so you don't slide around. Really, it's for safety. If you're sliding all over, you might hit the wall or go off the road. Gotta do all this thing. Compete with Mark. Come on up, Mark. Play with our cars. Come on. All right, here we go. Changing from a 350 to a 3.89. These are gears made in Italy by Motive. So flat file this, clean it all up, and put it in the oven. Let's see if I can do this with one hand, but highly recommend this to get rid of any high spots because you can see where that was a high spot. And that was a high spot. That would have given you a little bit of run out, so your backlash would have changed from one side to the other. So do that, clean it all up, and bake it. All right, took it out of a 400-degree oven. You can see it's still kind of loose. And get all the bolts started. Let it cool off. And Loctite and torque. All right, guys, show you about this Currie third member. So here's a normal pinion bearing, but look how tiny that is. And look what they use, massive. But in order for them to do that, you gotta press collar on. So then another thing they have here is shouldered bolts. And these are billet aluminum caps, and they go all the way through and fasten back on the back side. So that's really nice. They have this passage here. The oil slings through there and almost pressurized feeds the pinion bearing. Because pinion bearing, this bearing right here sees a lot of abuse. This surface area right here is trying to pick up the whole car. So that's why they have a massive pinion bearing. All right. Another thing they do, they have this load bolt that comes in right here, and you have it so it just barely touches the back of their ring gear, like a couple thousandths. And so if there's any flex, it's not going to go anywhere because this is going to hold it together. I don't know what the horsepower rating is, but They're pretty stout. I'm glad I bought this one. All right, we got that collar pressed on. Now we get this 125,000 spacer here, and then we'll press this big ass bearing on. And use something like this. These tools are cool because they have a lip that captures, so they don't slide off each other. All right, and for the excitement, not really, just pressing the bearing on. All right, our first check is going to be with this 20 thousandths in here. These are going to go in between the two bearings. Torque it down and see what our preload drag is. Should be 15 inch-pounds. Alright, so here's my setup. Got a great big 3/4 inch breaker bar there. Torque the pinion nut to 200, and let's see what we got. Alright, see if I can do this with one hand. Read the number as we're turning. Anyway, I'm doing it with two hands. We got about 11. So, specs are 13 to 15, but she's got some drag on it, so I think that's going to be good. Alright, these are special bolts from Currie. These are going to get torqued to 80, so both this and this got brake clean, blew all the chips and oil and all that out, so that way the Loctite sticks better to a dry clean surface. Run them all down and torque them to 80. Alright, that's the setup. Kept on turning on me, so I had to put that there. Put her in, lock her down to 80. Went around 3 times, crisscross, and then I'll mark them. Alright, there we all are torqued down and marked. Now I'll push some bearings on. Alright, and you want to watch all this fun pressing stuff. Alright, put these on. One thing I gotta share is this neat tool here. See how it's beveled on there? Because you gotta be able to come down past this lip. So this will push on the bearing inner race, but clear that. This is a really neat set. Thought I'd never use it, but I use it all the time. All kinds of neat stuff. Alright, so I did run it down and check it with the old nut. And I'm going to put the new nut on. A little bit of oil on there. Man, Ford, they got Chevy beat with this part right here. If you don't put tons of silicone all over this and in the splines, a GM will leak. Good job, Ford. And I just love working on a Ford. It's so much easier to dial in your backlash. Adjuster here, adjuster there. And so, calls for 7 to 9. We got 8 right in the middle. Gonna go with that. Double check the preload again. And then pull off these through bolts that come through here. Gotta seal these, torque them down, and run pattern. Alright, there's the first run. Looks like we need to bring it in a little deeper. Alright, we've got the pinion pulled back out. We're going to take this 5,000 shim out, and this will come bring the pinion in deeper. We'll put it all back together, recheck our backlash, see what we got. Alright, so we came in 5,000ths, and there's our pattern. So we still need to come in more. Sheesh, okay, back and forth, back and forth. Got the pattern in the middle of the tooth as much as I can. So let's get this biatch back together. Alright, 5 hours later. Got her all set up and put back together. Brakes and shocks and all that stuff. I had to put the whole diff back in. So we should be good. I'm letting everything cure overnight, then I'll fill it up and go start breaking it in. Hopefully not break it. Exciting, huh? Look at that drive shaft. Carbon fiber. I like ye. 3 1/4 inch. And there's my headers. Equal length, tuned, and orientated in the firing sequence per bank. Yep. Everything's working good. 14-inch brakes, man, they really stop you. Like I've never had brakes that well. Very impressed. Alright, well, that's about all she wrote for today. See ya!